today is a very odd day for me. I am at home full time. It's kind of a weird feeling after 6 years, but I think this is going to be really good. Not just for me, but for our family. It's something that Sam and I actually had been talking about a lot. It wasn't something that I was going to do quite this soon. But overall, I think it's a good thing. I don't feel stressed. I don't feel panicked. I don't feel like everything has to be done so quickly because there's no time. One of the things, I have worked full time for 6 years now. Sorry, I'll change the angle a little bit. 6 years I have been working full time, and in 6 years, a lot of things have they've like taken the back burner, and something that I'm not really proud of, like my house. My house has really taken a back burner because when you work Monday through Friday, from all day, the last thing you want to do is housework. And so the house would get like crazy, and then we would end up spending like a couple weekends working on the house, and all it was a band-aid. It wasn't really a fix. It wasn't really a, here, the house is, cleaned the way I want it to be cleaned. So there's like piles of stuff. They're like, oh, well, this is okay. It's in a pile over here on the side. It was a band-aid. It wasn't a fix. It's like, okay, because I can't put it away because I need to go and take care of that section. And it's just been bad. We were actually debating on hiring someone to come in and clean the house. Something else, it was very stressful. I have you can kind of see it there's like a bump right here. It's skin oil, and I was actually starting to lose hair. I think over stress from my job. So day one of being at home, what am I going to be doing? I'm actually going to do some housework. What is nice about, because right now it is 8 o'clock. I have from 8 to about 11. Sam will be home, well, so 8 to about 10:30 to work on housework. And then Sam will be home for lunch at 11. So I'll quit about 10:30 and I will do something for lunch. And then I will get back to it probably around 1. Trying to find, hold on. Sorry, I wanted to kind of get more comfortable to be able to chat with you guys. One of the things that is just, it's good, but it's weird. And I think anyone who's went from working to not working can understand that. You can understand that, like, your brain is still in work mode, and it's not, there's no pressure, like, other than the pressure that you put on yourself now to get stuff accomplished. If you remember a few weeks, earlier, even in the last week, I had massive, like, really bad breakouts going on, through here and down through here. Sorry, guys. Between my asthma and I caught a cold in our house. If you didn't know, if you're just new to the channel, our floor furnace had went out about 2 weeks ago, and yesterday, Monday the 28th, it was finally fixed. And so Sam and I are both sick. really severe like colds, chest congestion type of stuff. One of the things, several of the things I'm looking forward to in this, journey of being back at home is working on my weight loss. And I kind of commented on it in a video earlier in the channel, and I will link that video down below. I'm going to be using a free program called MyFitnessPal, who is not a sponsor. They are a free app that you can download on Android or iOS. And working, it was really hard to eat something, consistently enough that, sorry, something in my eye. It was hard to eat something consistently enough to stay full, because if I was in the middle of a project or I was running errands or something, I would forget. There would be days I would go at work without eating. And the only thing I would eat would be whatever I ate that morning for breakfast, and it wasn't healthy. It wasn't, good for me. It was pretty much fat and carbs. And so I'm looking forward to being able to eat more healthier things at home and being able to eat kind of when my body tells me I need to, instead of having to for the most part ignore those hunger signals, or not knowing the difference between boredom and hunger, because sometimes the job that I had, there wasn't a whole lot going on, so I was very bored some days. I'm looking forward to I have so many workout DVDs. I probably have a rival collection to like any workout studio. So I'm looking forward to being able to start getting into those again soon. Probably not this week. This week is a reintroduction of myself to my home. My goals this week, and you're probably wondering why I'm sharing so much very intimate things with you guys, because you guys are here, and I know that some people aren't gonna like this video, and that's okay, but I feel that you guys being part of my channel, like, that you're part of my life, and I want to just share kind of what life is going on with us right now, even though I don't do a daily vlog, or I don't do at-home vlogs, which is something that totally could start coming. I may totally start doing some home vlogs and some like maybe cooking vlogs, type things, because I am home, and maybe try some Disney recipes at home type of thing. So that's something that I'm still thinking about. There's a lot of things to consider now. You guys are part of my family, and I feel like you guys should know what's going on. And some people will probably be like, well, don't you want to keep that kind of stuff private? And, for the most part, I am keeping some of the details private. But also, I don't feel like I want to lie to you guys, because that hurts the bond between you guys as the subscriber and myself as the creator. So, my plans for this week. Today is Tuesday, so officially this is my first day that I am not working full-time, because the original plan is that since I had to deal with the furnace people yesterday, I was going to be off work yesterday anyway. So today of Tuesday is my official first day being at home full-time. Yesterday it was kind of back and forth getting the heating people to come back. And I will discuss that here in a little bit. we will talk about the furnace. But this week, today, my goals for this week, I guess, is what I'm talking about. And I'm really sorry if this feels rambly. This is really just, my morning thoughts. So please bear with me. My goals for this week. I want to get some housework, deep cleaning housework accomplished. It is October. We are 8 days away from vacation, and I want to get the house deep cleaned before we go. I want to go to vacation knowing that when I walk out the door on Christmas Day, because we'll bring all of our Christmas gifts and stuff home, spend a little bit of time with Peaches, and then my parents will take us down to our hotel to stay at that night, the night of Christmas, so we can get up early and get on for our flights the next day. I want to deep clean the house, so I'm going to start with the living room, because the living room is the room that has the least amount to do. So I want to make sure I'm going to start with it and work my way around. And there might be, I might work some in another room, today as well. Hey, Sweet Pea. Sorry, Peaches decided that she wanted some attention from Mama. And just kind of get all that done. Sometime this week, Sam and I will go together, or maybe on Sunday, or maybe I will go with my dad to the laundromat to do laundry. Our home is from the 1920s, and so it does not have washer and dryer hookups. So we either have to go do laundry at my parents' house, like we're still in college, or we go to the laundromat. So that is why, we just can't do laundry at home, which I miss having a washer and dryer at home, let me tell you. So that is the plan for the week, just to kind of get the house back to organized the way I want it. So I promised you the furnace story. So our landlord used Dawn's Heating and Air out of El Dorado, Kansas, and they have a office kind of offshoot here in Hillsboro, and he's used them for some of his other rental properties before. When I was off work on the 17th and 18th for my 2 days off for the month of October, I had called him earlier that week and said, hey, the furnace isn't working. Somebody needs to come take a look at it. I'm off the 17th and 18th. Is there any way that they could come on those 2 days, because I'm already off? And so he played phone tag with them and played phone tag with me. And he said, they weren't going to be able to come look at it until last Monday. So last week. And I'm like, Willie, that doesn't really work too well. There's no heat and it's cold. And he's like, okay, well, I'm going to give him your cell phone number and they're going to call you. And so, okay. So Thursday morning, on the 17th, at probably 8:30 in the morning, I think, because I was still in bed. It was my day off. Dawn's Heating and Air called and asked if 2 o'clock the next day on the 18th would work for them to come out and take a look at the furnace and hopefully fix whatever needed fixing. And I said, yeah, that's great. Thank you so much for fitting me in. And they're like, yeah, not a problem. So went about Thursday and went about my day on Friday. And 2 o'clock came and went and no one was here. I'm like, okay, well, they may have had some delay between El Dorado and Hillsboro, or maybe another job ran long. 2:15 came and went and no one. 2:30 came and went and there was no one. And I'm like, okay, something's going on. So I tried to call Dawn's in El Dorado with no answer. No answer. I left a voicemail. And about 15 minutes later, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and try calling back. So I called back, and someone answered, and she's like, yeah, I remember I set up the appointment yesterday, and I'm like, well, no one's here. And so when she went to look in the computer, it was scheduled for Monday instead, the following Monday, so the 18th, 19th, 21st, um, not the 18th. And she's like, I know we made it for, today at 2, let me get, someone else to help. And so they were like, oh, they were trying to insist that they couldn't come out. And I'm like, look, my landlord called you guys and said that, we have no heat and, you guys called and made this appointment. Is there any way that you guys can come and, take a look at it? And they're like, well, we really can't. I'm like, well, I work on Monday and I don't get off until 4. And so the lady said, okay, let me call you back. So she called me back and she said, well, they can make you the last stop on Monday so that you're home. I said, okay. That was probably about 3:15, somewhere in there. About 10 minutes later, I think. No, about an hour later. So about 4:15, they called and said, okay, they're actually dispatching the guys to come and check your furnace now. They should be there. They're leaving El Dorado right now. They should be there in about an hour. Okay, great. So we're expecting them like at 5:15. It is 6 o'clock before these two guys show up. So I don't know what happened in this other 45 minutes, but they didn't show up until 6. Well, at this point, Sam and I are a little perturbed because, one, they were supposed to have been there 45 minutes prior, and 2, we were putting off going to the football game for Friday night football game until, they got there. And so they finally got here and they took a look at the furnace inside, and then they went to underneath the house in the crawl space, and they're like, don't use the furnace, don't turn it on, don't do anything. That's all they could tell us because we're the tenants, we're not the owner. Okay. So my landlord was gone up until through Monday last week. So Tuesday I called him, Tuesday he called me and asked if the furnace was fixed. And I said, well, no, didn't they call you? And he's like, no. And I told him what was going on. And so he's like, okay, let me give him a call. So this has already been 2 weeks at this point. He called me back and said, okay, they can come on Monday the 28th, but it'll be an all-day job because they have to replace the whole furnace piece. And I'm like, okay. So I worked with the other lady in the office at that time and worked it out to where I'd be off yesterday. Now, in between then and yesterday, it's been down in like the 30s. I'm really surprised that we didn't have pipes burst. We made sure that all of the faucets in the house were dripping, like had a drip going. As you can tell, my voice is like pretty much shot. But so fast forward to yesterday. Dawn's opened at 8, and I called at 8 o'clock, or a little after 8, and said, now, this, told them who it was and my address, and now they're coming at 9 o'clock, right? And they said, yes, they will be there between 9 and 9:15, and they're finishing getting stuff loaded out of the warehouse. And I said, okay, fantastic. So I was talking with Sam on his 9 o'clock break, like right at the end of his break, they pulled up. I'm like, okay, they're here. So I talked with the guys. I said, look, I'm going to be in my bedroom with the heat and stuff, and knock on the door if you need me. So, like, maybe 10 till 11 yesterday, they bang on them, like, holy cow, I can hear you. It's not that big of a room. And they said that the furnace was working, and it was warm, and I was like, oh, so excited. Well, about 30 minutes later, the furnace kicked off, and it would not kick back on. And I'm like, what the heck? I thought this was all taken care of. So I called Dawn's and told them, and like, well, they're at another service call, but they'll come to your house. They'll come back after they're done. And I said, okay. So I called and left my landlord a message to let them know that, they were having to come back because it wasn't fixed the first time. And I didn't want them to be charged 2 service calls for this. So I started messing with the older thermostat on the wall. And why they didn't just change out the thermostat as well, I don't understand. But I finally, after about 20 minutes of messing with the thermostat, I finally hit it and it kicked on. And so it warmed the house up enough that they probably got there about 45 minutes later. And they're like, well, it's warm. And I said, yeah, I messed with the thermostat for a full 20 minutes and then I hit it. And they're like, okay, that must be a thermostat problem as well. So they changed out the thermostat. And ever since, we've had no problems. So there was massive problems with the furnace and massive problems with the thermostat. So we were just, we were having issues on all ends with that furnace. So thankfully we have heat because it is supposed to start snowing today on Tuesday. So I know this is kind of a long video. I know it seems maybe kind of rambly to you guys, but I wanted to let you know a little bit of what is going on, with Sam and I. Kind of a little bit of a life update. I'm looking forward to November, and maybe doing daily vlogs and working a full-time job was not easy. Kudos to all of the other vloggers out there who do video daily and have a full-time job, because that is not easy. If you follow someone who videos daily and has a full-time job, make sure to comment and definitely make sure to like those videos, because they have to be exhausted, because I know I was exhausted doing daily videos. So with that, I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to get started in on my day. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified of all the videos coming up. I am on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as Paper Scissors Vacations Oh My. Thank you again really so much for watching and listening to me ramble on, and we'll see you in the theme parks.